The absence of a goodbye feels like an unanswered question echoing in the depths of my heart. It leaves me wondering if you ever truly cared or if I was just a fleeting moment in your life. Sometimes it's not the departure that hurts, but the silence left in its wake. You left without a word, and now all I have are unspoken thoughts swirling in my mind, yearning for closure. You walked away without a goodbye, and with each passing day, the silence becomes louder. The questions grow, the feelings remain, and the hurt only deepens. It's the unexpected departure that cuts the deepest, the kind that leaves you standing there, trying to make sense of what was, what could have been, and why you didn't stay to explain. Why did you leave without saying goodbye? That's the question I ask myself every night as I try to reconcile the love I thought we had with the sudden void you left behind. You left without a single word, and now I'm left with the echoes of your absence, wondering if your feelings for me were ever as deep as mine for you. When someone leaves without saying goodbye, it feels like they've taken a part of you with them. The confusion, the pain, and the longing to understand linger in the air like a storm that never clears. I often wonder if you ever thought about how your silence affected me. You left without a goodbye, and now I'm left with 1,000 unspoken conversations and unshed tears. Leaving without a goodbye is like walking out of a room without turning the light off. It leaves everything dim and uncertain, and the shadow of your absence grow with each passing day. Why did you leave without saying goodbye? It's a question I don't think I'll ever get an answer to, but the silence of your departure speaks louder than words ever could. The moment you left without saying goodbye, it felt like time stopped. Everything I thought I knew about us unraveled, leaving me alone with only memories and unasked questions. When you walk away without saying goodbye, you leave a hole in the heart, a void that no one can fill. The pain of not knowing why stays with you long after they're gone. I never understood why you didn't say goodbye. Was it that you were afraid of the pain it would cause? Or was it because you simply didn't care anymore? It's strange how someone can leave without saying goodbye, yet their absence can linger in your heart and mind for what feels like an eternity. Leaving without a goodbye doesn't erase the memories, but it does create a distance that words can never bridge. Now, I find myself lost in the space where you used to be. Every time I think of you, I wonder why you didn't give me the chance to say goodbye. Instead, I'm left here, piecing together the fragments of what we were. Your absence without a word of goodbye leaves a trail of unanswered questions. I wonder if you ever realized how deeply it hurt me to be left without closure. It's hard to move on when someone leaves without saying goodbye. The open-ended nature of it keeps you hanging in a place between holding on and letting go. A goodbye isn't just a word. It's a way to acknowledge that something is ending. But when you left without one, I was left with a sense of unfinished business that I'm still trying to resolve. Your departure without a goodbye left me with nothing but time and questions, and I'm still trying to make sense of it all, wondering if I'll ever truly find closure. The pain of being left without a goodbye is not just the absence of a person, but the absence of understanding. I'll never truly know why you chose to walk away. Sometimes the hardest thing to understand is why someone leaves without saying goodbye. It leaves an open wound that time doesn't seem to heal, only to make more questions arise. You left without a word, and now I'm left sifting through the memories, trying to find something that makes sense of your sudden departure. There's a sadness in not knowing why someone leaves. The lack of closure is a wound that keeps reopening, each time reminding me of the goodbye you never gave. I never got the chance to ask you why. Why did you leave without a goodbye? Instead, I'm left with a silence that answers nothing but leaves everything unanswered. The emptiness of your departure without a goodbye feels like an echo in the soul. I wonder if you ever think about the pain you left behind, or if you've simply forgotten me already. Leaving without a goodbye may seem easier in the moment, but it leaves a scar that time can't heal. The questions, the feelings, and the silence all remain long after you're gone. The hurt isn't in your leaving, but in the way you left, without a single word. Now, I carry the weight of your absence, trying to understand what went wrong. I've learned that a goodbye is a gift, a final act of love and respect. But when you left without one, I was left with nothing but confusion and a heart full of unanswered questions. The moment you left without saying goodbye, I realized that sometimes closure is something you'll never get, and all you can do is learn to live with the uncertainty. I'm left with more questions than answers, more emotions than I know how to process, and the overwhelming sense that I'll never truly know why you left without saying goodbye. It's funny how a simple word, goodbye, can carry so much weight. You didn't say it, and now I find myself waiting for answers that may never come. Leaving without a goodbye doesn't just hurt in the moment, but it leaves a long-lasting ache that lingers far longer than you could ever imagine. Why didn't you say goodbye? Was it to spare me from the pain, or was it because you didn't think it mattered? Either way, It's a question that haunts me. It's not just the fact that you left, but the way you did it, without a goodbye, leaving me with an open wound I'll never know how to heal. There are some wounds that don't show on the outside, but they cut the deepest. The wound you left when you walked away without saying goodbye is one of those. I never understood why you left without saying goodbye. Did you think it would be easier? Or was it just that you didn't think I deserved an explanation? In the silence of your departure, I found myself asking why. Why didn't you give me the chance to say goodbye? Why did you leave without the closure we both needed? When you leave without saying goodbye, the questions never stop. Why didn't you care enough to tell me why? Why couldn't you have just stayed a little longer? You didn't say goodbye, and that absence left me searching for answers. I wish you had given me the closure I needed to understand why it ended the way it did. Sometimes, when people leave without saying goodbye, it's not just the person we miss. It's the chance to understand, the opportunity for closure that was never given. Why did you leave without saying goodbye? The unanswered question lingers, and no matter how much time passes, it feels like it will never truly fade. You left without a goodbye, and it felt like I was just a chapter in your life that you decided to close without finishing. Now I'm left here trying to make sense of what we were. A goodbye is a way to acknowledge the end of something, to give it a sense of finality. But you left without one, and I'm left to wonder if I'll ever understand why. Your departure without saying goodbye has left me in a place of limbo, stuck between the past and the present, unable to fully move on without closure. I wish you had given me the chance to say goodbye. Without it, I'm left with nothing but the weight of your absence and the endless questions I'll never have answers to. Why didn't you say goodbye? It's the question that echoes in my heart every day as I try to make sense of why you left and what it means for everything we shared. Sometimes people leave without saying goodbye because they think it will be easier for everyone. But in truth, it only makes the pain last longer. When someone leaves without saying goodbye, it's like they leave a door half open. It's always there, lingering, and no matter how hard you try, you can't close it completely. You left without a goodbye, and now I'm left with the emptiness of never knowing why you walked away. The questions still haunt me, and the pain never fully fades. Why didn't you say goodbye? It's a question that has no answer, but it's a question that will always linger in my heart, unanswered and aching. Leaving without a goodbye feels like a door slammed shut, leaving behind only the echoes of what could have been and the realization that I'll never understand. why you left. I never got the chance to ask you why you left without saying goodbye. I suppose I'll never know, and I'll have to live with that silence. Your departure without a goodbye has left me with a sense of longing, an unanswered question that keeps me searching for closure I'll never get. Goodbyes are hard, but the silence of one that's never spoken is even harder. You left without a word, and now I'm left with nothing but unspoken thoughts and a broken heart. Sometimes the hardest part of love is not the ending, but the way it ends. Without a goodbye, there's no sense of closure, no way to fully understand why it all fell apart. You didn't say goodbye, and now I find myself replaying our last moments, trying to find some sort of meaning in the space where you used to be. The pain of being left without a goodbye is not just emotional, but spiritual. It's like a piece of you is missing, and no matter how hard you try, you can't get it back.